The man with a disharmonious household can master the local environment, but he is lost in the transcendent and cannot serve as a peacemaker. The man with a grudge is still innocent of all crimes and cannot serve as a peacemaker. The man with unpaid debts is a victim of karma, which blinds him to the transcendent and cannot serve as a peacemaker. The man who has peers seeks mastery of the local environment and cannot serve as a peacemaker. The man who is afraid of war cannot serve as a peacemaker. The peacemaker must love war, must in fact generate war around him constantly, so that the need for war does not accumulate and explode. The peacemaker brings a sword, not peace. Jesus Christ said this as well in the New Testament, right? Jesus Christ said, "People think I have come to bring peace." Find the verse. Matthew 10:34 through 36. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be members of one's own household. So, there can be no peace as long as corruption exists, right? And therefore, the peacemaker has to make war in the service of peace, right? It's something like that. Peacemaking must be a vocation, not an occupation. Peacemaking cannot be something that is done by a peacemaker, but something that is about the peacemaker. In his local environment, therefore, the peacemaker must be the man who has strived for peace, not victory, but he must also be the man who could attain victory indisputably, if that was his desire. I think I could spit some fucking game. If I wanted to lie to women, if I wanted to manipulate women, I could spit some fucking game, dude. But I don't, and I never have. Not really, right? Even though I've tried it a few times. And so, I understand Jordan's point, right? And why that will make you appear to be a loser in the local environment, right? If you're unwilling to lie, you will lose in the local environment. Anyways. The morality of the loser who sees victory slip away easily becomes cowardice, something that seeks revenge and revolution for revenge, not for peace. This is why Nietzsche hated the tarantulas so much, these preachers of equality, because he saw into their souls and he saw what they really wanted deep down was revenge against life for making them so weak and terrible. That's what the real loser wants. They want revenge. And what Nietzsche said at the end of that passage in Thus Spake Zarathustra was that for that man be delivered from revenge, that is for me the bridge to the highest hope and a rainbow after long storms. The tarantulas, of course, would have it otherwise. What justice means to them is precisely that the world be filled with the storms of their revenge. Let's see, the local victor is replaceable, but the peacemaker is not. The local victor is a machine, a very efficient machine to be sure, but still a machine. The peacemaker is neither a factory product nor a machine. In consequence, he must be he who cannot be replaced. This means that the peacemaker, hard and protean, must also be idiosyncratic as well as universal. There is nothing more common than the unique, but there is also nothing more difficult to attain. It is the uniqueness of the peacemaker that makes him able to listen. The downtrodden are the losers to the local victor. To the peacemaker, however, the downtrodden are the evidence that the local victory is too local. The peacemaker must therefore attend to the downtrodden, whose suffering is the gateway to the transcendent. But if he listens with sympathy, then he can no longer attend to the local victor and must become his enemy. So he must always remember to look at the blood on his own hands, while he is listening to the downtrodden, and to thereby maintain his solidarity with the perpetrator. The local victor is a master of technique. The peacemaker has no technique, although he is also a master. In the transcendent, technique is limitation. Pride in skill is still pride. Where pride dominates, the facts themselves fall into dispute. Because the peacemaker has no technique, he must attend. To what? To what announces itself as important, when victory is not the aim. When the facts that give rise to peace announce themselves to the man whose aim is peace, he can then point the way. Desiring peace, he sees new facts and is filled with enthusiasm for those facts. Enthusiastic, he masters his anxiety, his frustration, his shame, his self-consciousness, and his guilt. Rising above his guilt, he can look over the blood on his own hands and see what still beckons. Observing his enthusiasm, the local victors, satiated, deadened, brutalized, and bored by their victory, become jealous and look as well. Observing his enthusiasm, the local losers rise above their defeat, inspired by the evidence of hope embodied before them, and see what beckons, using the eyes of the peacemaker as their own. Thus, the peacemaker sees new facts, redemptive facts, and allows them to imbue him with life. The peacemaker can then transmit that life through the substance of his own body to the antagonists, victors and vanquished. The antagonists, blessed with the eyes of the peacemaker, come to see their enemies for the first time. Guided implicitly in this manner, they may rise above their own desire for victory and their own subjugation to defeat and seek peace.